Hello, everybody. Good evening. Hope you are all doing well. Yesterday, I could not start the Clubhouse app because of I think, the new update or iOS 17 or something. But today, also I had some problem. But now I'm able to start. Okay. Um, Hope everybody is doing well. And welcome to people in Wisdom. Welcome to Christian and Clubhouse. And welcome to everybody in LinkedIn. Uh, so I was talking about this topic only on the wisdom yesterday because, and also the other channels, but not on the clubhouse because it did not work on the clubhouse yesterday. Um, they were saying something about the 17 and iOS. Once you have that, it's difficult to get the live rooms here. I don't know what. Maybe they fixed it today. Um, I was talking about something I heard very, very early in my childhood, simple living and higher thinking. That was the way to go about a good human being. That's what they were trying to teach us. Be simple outward, don't have to have so many pairs of clothes, so many vehicles, so much of house and all that, right? Obviously, that was the way of life when I was growing up in India. You know, so a lot of people give value to what you think, what you feel, what you stand for, and how much you know about what are the great things as people said, things like that. You know, nobody measured you according to what you have, what kind of car you drove, or what kind of clothes you're having, and what kind of friends you have, that kind of thing, right? So that was really giving value to the human being, right? Now, after I grew up and I came to United States, obviously I found out that people live very externally complicated lives. That means they have so many houses, so many cars, so many accounts, so many companies, and so much of taxes. Everything is complicated externally. But internally, they don't want to think too much about real big issues. They just want to put them away or just escape them or postpone them. That's the general statement on general life, right? And then now it has become all over the world like that. People want instant gratification. People don't want to listen to anything that is serious. So it's like that, right? But when you are having few things to maintain, to really resell, or all that headache that goes with processing a lot of things, to somebody who is spending most of his time not on attending to this maintenance of so many things, the house, the car, the boat, all that, right? But you are more having the time for taking care of yourself and understanding who you are and all that. That is something that was always there for people to see. I think people may be enamored marketing or by the selling pressure or comparing with other people or just being lured by the so-called comfort, so-called happiness getting from the things and all that. I don't think it's happiness if you get something from the things, because the things will go away, then you will be miserable. So it's more like a pleasure. For a few days, it may stay there and then go on. And this simple living is important because you need energy to go inward, to reflect on yourself, to know the deeper layers of yourself, to watch your thoughts, watch your emotions, and other people's and all that. That requires a lot of energy and all that too. So, if you could live simply, like simple house, the minimalism that is the fashion now. A lot of people talk to me about that, the minimalism. That means you don't want to survive on too much. The example are a couple of people, they started very young. but then they took one suitcase and put a pair of trousers and shirt, and then very minimal, right? The way they pack the suitcase is extraordinary, and they don't take too many things at all. And then they wash them and they wear them again and all that. Anyway, that is the minimalism because we all know the earth is in trouble, and a lot of consumerism has contributed all over the world. I don't think maybe United States did it early, later China did it, now India is doing it, but all we have rampant consumers who were anything and contributing to the demise of the earth. You know, that's why this principle of simply living, consuming what is needed, but really being smart about it, and then recycling them. All that we know, we accept that. But maybe we ran out of the time the way that destruction is coming on us. So that way also simple life, outward life is very important. And also, you got to be aware, you got to be thinking deep to know the Earth's problem, the atmospheric pollution, the all the resources that are consumed for our own selfish needs. All those things we are aware of it. But when we go and buy gas for the car, we are not aware of fossil fuels and all of that, right? Hopefully, the electric vehicles will come sooner and then help us to save the planet. I'm going to have my next car as the electrical vehicle, but I'm kind of buying time because more models and all that I want. And also, this battery problem is there. So that's something we need to consider. Right? Otherwise, people are really enthusiastic about fossil fuels going down, and then this new technology coming into vogue so that we can help ourselves and the earth too. So I come from that perspective. uh, Being a real human being means that we are different than animals, and we are capable of creating good atmosphere for us. So what we usually do. I was always thinking about going into ourselves, thinking on important things and deeper things and all that. I can't help it. I just went into that way, and then I had to find out. I had to have some answers and all that. There are people, ancients. You take um, Socrates, you take Plato, you take any number of old people or ancient people. They have always conveyed this simple living and higher thinking. You know, one of the things I used to tell my students before get up in the morning, have a elevated thought. But nowadays I advise them to be aware and then have a thought. Even if you have a thought, you should have elevated thought. What does the elevated thought mean? The thought that is related to others' needs, others' health, others' welfare, and then also contributing to the life as a whole. Those kind of. Whereas if you think of just for yourself and want to enjoy things, and then just don't worry about the next generations, that's not really being a human, right? So that's kind of true. So anyway, I got into my head very early as a childhood. Uh, be very careful about the earth and the resources. Try to protect them, and also pick up some stuff, some rough stuff with other people too, because you are with them that way, prepared. But once you are convinced that this is what I need to do, probably you will not succumb to anybody, right? So that's the thing that is happening. This is what is happening in the is people are living a very very complicated outward life, and then they may think a little bit if you inspire them, but if you don't, then their interest is not here and somewhere else, right? That kind of thing. Hopefully that makes sense, because it makes sense because if you have less things, less outward thing, then you will have more time for your inward stress, inward burnout, inward brain fog, inward information overload, and so that you can read and understand these things pretty good. Okay, that kind of thing. And then you become more and more aware of this awareness and stress reducing lifestyle behaviors. You will adopt them, and they grow on itself. Okay, after I was introduced this topic, then I learned into the writings of Gandhi, you know, and he also talked about very simple. He doesn't want to wear the uh, uh, clothes are waved with a uh, cotton, but then he wanted mostly cotton, but they were doing something else too. But he wanted that all to be manufactured within India so that Indian people will have some job of putting all that, right? So uh, the simple living and higher thinking was ingrained in national leaders at the time. Even though I was born after the independence, I used to hear these stories about everybody wearing clothes made by their hands, right? And then that was a virtue. They just sat and then getting all the thread out of those cotton things for a long time, you know. So that was there too. So this kind of simple living was rubbed on me because they were not, making a big deal of somebody making millions or somebody having extravagance. They were pointing out to these leaders who were sacrificing in their external life. And then they were also always measuring to be better human beings by thinking deeper and to understand some things, some facts of life. Okay, that kind of thing, you know. So then it started to really fought for the freedom movement. They went to jail, and they generally displayed this value of simplicity outward, you know, and then inward they were able to think at least deeper and in private with people and all that. Okay, so after the introduction in high school by this principle, I was enamored by what I heard about Gandhi. Even those generations were like that because he is very known to them. They grew in there. So those people have a special character, the generation, right? They were more giving. They're more having this gratitude, and they were generally friendly and non-violent, right? That is the characteristics you can see them, you know. That rubbed on them probably a little bit. And so I continued with this simple living and high thinking even when I came to the United States. So I don't want to buy too many cars, only one car because I have to go to work and come back. And then house also, we kept the same simple house for a long time. Hi, Tracy. So it's all a question of really observing what is important for us and going after it, you know. So that kind of. Hi, Dr. Rao. Good evening, everyone. Hi, Tracy. How are you? I'm well, thank you. Okay. So this is a topic I talked yesterday, but I'm opening up today because yesterday I could not open up on the clubhouse. There was some problem, you know. So, hi, Shanti. How are you? I'm very good. How are the both of you? Okay. So I'm doing good. Okay. So it's a lifestyle that is connected to not only our planet health but also our wellness too. Because if you are simple in your diet, in your hydration, in your uh, sleep, and in your simple habits that we kind of forgot as a civilization because of the invasion by the technology. And even though I use a lot of technology, I always treat technology as it, and then there's life after technology. That's, I think, what we forgot. Both these things I'm talking about, living simply outwardly and then simply inwardly also, but then having a rich, higher, inquisitive thinking is very, very important, I think, you know. But you go beyond you really employ your mind to understand what is what, so that kind of thing I was bringing in because if you are internally very rich and then able to withstand temptations from outside or character negative things from outside, all of that by itself makes your mind balanced, and then you'll be healthy that way too. No stress hormones and all that. Many people have this stress, they don't understand their mind and they let it go wherever it wants to. But if you are thinking consciously in a purposeful way, in an intentional way, that's much better. Okay. So you have any comments to say, Tracy or Chantis?
Okay. I was going to say that I remember one time I remember you said a lot of times, start our day like you put, like you spray on perfume, spray on, gratitude and appreciation just for being, alive well enough to get your day going and just appreciate the things that we have.
Yeah.
It might be a simple thing, major contribution to wellness.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. See, if you look at it, it kind of looked like the creation was there with animals, but now men and women are the highest, right? And then we are given a lot of capacities to be a human being or great human and enjoy that humanness, that is there. That's a gift for us, just to be alive and to be awake and then say, those are there, but you have start with this, then you have a lot more energy that's coming up, and you can achieve a lot more things than if you are other way around. Okay, so I always talk about be in awareness, and then using perfume. In awareness, you can recognize what are the good things you have, what are the going for you, and then you as an engine you can generate more energy. Yeah, definitely. Even if I get up in the morning, I get up in a good mood always. And then I look at the day immediately. What I see is what are the positives I have, and then awareness into that, and then propelling from there really gives me a lot of energy too. Yeah. What do you have to say, Tracy, about this simple living and higher thinking?
Um, Shantae, hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, and you as well, Dr. Rao. In terms of, just being mindful and having that awareness, starting off the day with simple gratitude. I started doing that, incorporating it into me watering the plants, So as I do that, I start to, meditate on nature and I just do my gratitude and affirmations.
Yeah.
And I actually thought about you this morning, Dr. Rao, because as I was watering the plants, there were caterpillars, and the caterpillars were eating away my fennel plant. And I said, do I sacrifice my plant or do I chase away the caterpillars? And I chose to let them eat it because I know butterflies are on the decline. I understand that they're almost extinct.
Yeah.
And it was four caterpillars out there, and they ate every single branch, every leaf on that tree. And I said to myself, what would Dr. Rao say about this? Do I sacrifice my plant, or do I go ahead and let them, just be, or do I chase them away? And I said, where's the higher living? And, what's the right thing to do? What's the wrong thing to do? And then it got me thinking, well, is there really a right and is there really a wrong? Or is it pretty much just our state of mind?
There is an order.
I know I said a lot.
Yeah, there is an order in nature. If we don't interfere with that, it will create that. That burning the trees down and then having the replanting and all that. There is a real order in the forest. We cannot have this artificial manicuring our lawns and doing some stuff and all that. But then if you go to the forest, it looks like it's all out of order, but actually there is a lively order in there. The life comes, life goes, and all that. So as long as we are not interfering with the nature, and we are not altering things, that is good. Like for example, butterflies, they notice that the butterfly, just before it breaks out of the cocoon, it kind of struggles with the final threads, I believe. So and then it flies away. But then some poor scientist watching that, he thought it will make it easier for the butterfly, so he cuts off all those fibers at the end, right? And then those butterflies could not fly because the struggle that they go through gives them the the strength to fly. Just like the calves, for the cows, when they all the farmers tell you, the calf that is able to stand on its own is more chance of surviving than the one that doesn't want to get up. You know, it's a kind of nature, right? Birds, they fly on their own and discover it and all that. So, I mean, according to the species, they was there. But then, because of our over jealousness or eagerness, we kind of destroying a lot of these species, extinguishing them so many ways. The nets in the sea, or the killing on the forests, everywhere it's happening, right? That is something we don't want to interfere. We don't want to interfere with the order of the nature. That's what I would say to your dilemma there. But that's a very good dilemma, right? To be sensitive to all the life. But then the reassuring thing is this, Tracy. Life is always continuing, you know yeah, so it finds its way out of it, like a tsunami, like a nuclear. All those things can happen, but the life finds its way. Maybe some life is lost, some life is devastated, but still life happens all over, right? And then that was there for millions of years. I think we are hastening the death of life by doing all these artificial things, which is polluting the air, water, and everything. That's how I look at it. That's why when you discover that nature, that order, then interfere. You just let it happen. But then when you have to do to protect it, you do protect it. But then if a lion is killing something, you cannot really be there. Even if you are there, you can picturize maybe, but you cannot do much about it. So that's like hunger killing. That's okay. But this is like a pleasure killing, just to hunt them down and all that. That I may have objection about. You have any questions regarding this topic? How to be simple, how to be higher thinking, or anything like that?
In regards to the higher thinking, again, as I said this morning, part of my questioning was, do is there a right or is there a wrong? I know they say you change your mind and you change your reality.
Yeah.
And everyone has a reason or because so why they do what they do. So, and I know we also have free will in this world.
Yeah.
So,
I would say more than higher thinking, I would say elevated thinking. Okay. If you are thinking about your food and survival, that I would say is not normal thinking that is required for that particular purpose. But then if you don't extend beyond like a, um, we're not tribal, but we have this higher thinking of, oh, he's a human being, I have kindness. Oh, he's hurt, let me go and reach out to him and help him. That is higher thinking, that is elevated thinking. And also having these questions about life, you know why women are treated so badly in so many cultures. Why so there is so much inequality economically, why there is so much racism, and thinking about them, that becomes the higher thinking and the elevated thinking. And then allowing our intelligence to find the answers by itself, not by reading something or somebody, but you come up with the original solution because you have questions about the truths of life. That is the elevated thinking I'm talking about. So if you don't really your horizon from yourself, your family, your country, and all that, then it becomes very, very shallow, right? But then once you extend and include other people from other countries, other races, and all that, then it becomes higher. And then going fundamentally into the human being suffering question, violence, and all that, that becomes the elevated thinking. See, elevated thinking kind of gives you the clarity, kind of also uh, pacifies the questions you have within yourself. Like, for example, you say, why there's so much racism, so much discrimination of the people? And then you want to not only understand and fight it, but also you don't want to have the instincts like that, that kind of bigger questions about humanity suffering, they become elevated thinking. And then that elevated thinking is not including just you, it's including something more than you, bigger than you. Anything that you think that is bigger than you, I would say it is elevated thinking. That gives you answers, that gives you even scientific proof is that, right? Find out answers for certain disease, certain old age, or certain things, like are maybe make compatible with our ingenuity of engineering, mathematics, and all that. So if you somebody doesn't allow their mind to probe into things and then find answers, then they will be following something all the time, and they won't really open up their mind. With the neuroplasticity, we know the more we are open to the newer things, that is something we don't know at all, the more our brain functions better, and then also intelligence improves, because uh, the dendrons that they interact with each other when you have a spark of something new, like a new language, new music, or new culture, whatever that is completely new to you, that makes you stop and pay attention and pay real good depth of understanding. All that new things will make you like you have this wonderment. You wonder, right? What is this? What is that? And keeping that inquiry, wonderment, that is for the children. But then later on, we lose that. That is where you have to come back to. And then every day morning, you get up and say, this is actually prescribed in ancient wisdom. They talked about uh, consciousness that is not really open and consciousness that is opened. Right? Of course, those controversies, like they call that lower consciousness to elevate yourself to higher consciousness, higher consciousness. And that kind of otherwise everybody is kind of oh, I want to find this technique of this spirituality, then I'm going to go and sell this for other people to get a course, or something like that. But if you allow them to think like you are doing it, then that will be service, I think. So from lower conscious to higher conscious, this is actually talked about in a lot of spiritual texts in ancient wisdom, where human beings are, maybe they are conscious about at one time they thought earth is flat. Everybody's consciousness is there, but one person's consciousness took a leap and wanted to see whether this is really flat or round. Then that insight has come. Then the testing has come. Then many people proved it. Then we come to know, oh yeah, this is so. The whole consciousness opened by one person elevating the consciousness from the lower to the higher. So it is that important. Like for example, I was very young, I think, maybe 10 years or 12 years. I was reading about one particular gentleman. He's called Lala Rajapati Rai. He was like a freedom fighter. He was there for a long time, I think, before the independence. Uh, but he was in an era when they were having these women married to the men, and when the men are dying, they're burying or not burying, actually burning. They do the last rites by burning bodies, right? So when the husband died, they are making the girl also jump into the fire and give her life. You know, that is called sati, right? It's a bad practice that was there, coming from centuries, I believe. So he stood up against that. You know, and the way he stood up, the way he prevented all this, and then made a come into legislation was wonderful story. And he was a woman's liberator, right? And that was very fascinating story. And I read it very early when I was 9 or 10 years, and that made a huge impression on me about women, the equality of women, and that really to my life, because when my sister, who was 2 years older than me, but she also took a entrance exam for the medical college in our town, right? Luckily, we were in the same town, not like so many people contested, right? So she worked very hard, and she got the medical entrance exam, and then she was able to take it to the college and get enrolled. Then my elder sisters and other people, they didn't want her to study further. They wanted her to get married off. That was something in India happens, right? Then because I have this understanding through Lala Lajpat Rai, that emancipation of women is very important. They're allowed to do whatever it is. So I was surprised by the reaction of my elder sisters and all that. But I told them this is what Lajpat Rai did. He liberated a lot of women. This woman worked hard. She was supposed to become a doctor, and she would serve people. You should not be stopping her. I fought her with them because I was very tiny, small, 14, 16 years, I think, But then they are taken back my arguments. So I was not violent, but I was not telling them, but I just stood up for her. So without me, definitely they would have all overwhelmed her and made her sit in the house. So that's what happens when you expose to um, thinking that is higher, and thus is elevated thinking. They're thinking from the conscious conscience, right? They are not doing it. Those people were not politicians. Those people were not aiming to get something out of anything. They were just standing for the truth, and they were standing for whatever consequences they may have. So they didn't have this transactional attitude. They just thought, this is truth, this is correct, let us do it. So that was also very influential on me. Uh, they didn't care for those things like getting a few bucks or getting a post or status or getting some name or fame. They didn't care for that because they all thought that was all very, very minimal in human life. But when you come to the West, those are the ones that most people value. So going back to the same values helped me a lot because I'm not drowned in this commercial culture. I'm kind of more wanted to do what I wanted to do. And even now, I want other people to be well and happy. And even if I do a small thing every day and somebody gets helped, I'm immensely happy about it. So that kind of thing. So when you get up in the, I would prefer people be without any thoughts in awareness, and then see what are the thoughts going through you, and you see them. If you have something like you think that is more selfish, more individuals, more for you than everybody else, you can watch it and stop it and change it. This is called Pratipaksha bhavana in Sanskrit. That means the opposite cultivation of the opposite thought. Suppose you have a cruel thought, like I'm going to give him to him, I'm going to make him learn lesson, something like that. But then you immediately are aware that this is negative, and then immediately you want to uh, get out of it, and you want to replace that with a positive thought. That is the Pratipaksha bhavana. That is the opposite way. There is a saying, from many thoughts, you go to one thought. From that one thought, you go to no thoughts. And that is the state you will be in samadhi. Right? It's a very, very refreshing thing. Even a few minutes in the evening, you get out of that. You know? So in the morning, you should have a thought, prepare your thought, your entire day into some kind of action, some kind of meaningful activity for you. But then really thinking like a revenge, or really thinking about somebody snubbed you or cheated you, anything like that. You want to elevate yourself from a conscious being to somebody who is forgiving, grateful that they are there, and able to enjoy the nature around you too. Anything else? Anything else you want to talk on this topic?
For me, I've gained clarity, so I thank you for that.
Okay. I think sometimes this is better doing a shorter room, like a half an hour, with a simple thing that people can understand, and then do it. So maybe also do more like a weekly room rather than every day, because not many people. We don't ping anybody, we don't invite anybody. That is also there, but then I never got the habit into that. If people, this is important, will come. But then there's so many changes in the clubhouse. People are difficulty finding live rooms, starting live rooms, and all that. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say. Always have a outwardly simple and clarity, and then inward you have to have the thinking, not to for your selfish needs, but more about what is bigger than you, and that will really energize you and make you live better and then die better too. I'll be seeing you today, tomorrow again. Okay? Hi, Nazli. How are you? Yeah, we just were finishing this topic, and I was going to close the room because we're talking about simple living and higher thinking. Want to say anything or a comment? You can come up and talk about it. Okay. You can always listen to the replay too if you are interested. In short room, just half an hour only we did it today. All right, I'll see you tomorrow again, Tracy and Joshua and Kristen.